Today, I'm talking about a very tender and challenging subject, forgiving childhood trauma, which is really the result of what we call ancestral or intergenerational trauma. As we pass down our experiences from generation to generation, the impact of violence can be seen in families for many years afterwards. This can manifest itself as depression, anxiety, anger issues, abuse, addictions, and difficulty forming close relationships. This type of trauma can be caused by natural disasters, war, genocide, racism, and other forms of systemic violence that have occurred throughout history. In this video, I'll share how understanding my own family's history has helped me to forgive the physical and emotional abuse that I endured as a child, along with how I gained some awareness over the negative programming I received and how that was working against me. I will also go over some of the steps that you can take to see your situation from this bigger perspective and find your own sense of inner well-being. I know that it can be difficult to forgive one's parents, especially when it seems as though they have been the cause of so much pain. I'm talking about it today because I've personally had a lot to unwind in this area, and I feel that I can offer some perspective here. Forgiving your parents and healing trauma can be a difficult journey, but because it can have such a far-reaching impact on our lives, it's an essential part of finding some inner peace. To begin the process of forgiveness and healing, I found it helpful to examine the history of violence around the world. This can give us a greater insight into why we are struggling with the particular issues today and develop a deeper understanding of our own complex emotional states. Violence of many forms has often been used as a way of controlling populations and maintaining power structures. From colonial times to modern-day military invasions, violence has been used as a tool for domination. And in many cases, it has been inflicted upon vulnerable populations who are unable or unwilling to fight back against oppressive forces. This leaves deep physical and psychological wounding. As an example from my own life, it wasn't until I took a trip to Sicily, my mother's homeland, that I really began to understand the legacy of violence and oppression that she grew up under and how it affected the way that she treated me as a child and the values that I was taught. While I was there, I learned that Palermo, the city that my mother's family was from, is the most conquered city on earth. Because of its strategic positioning, it has been plagued by violence for as far back as we know, from the rule of the ancient Greeks, Arabs, and Normans to the Italian mafia that dominated in the 20th century and still does. In the 19th century, organized crime became entrenched in Sicily, and with little economic opportunity available, many people resorted to illegal activities to make ends meet. As this criminal activity increased, so too did its brutality. Riots often erupted between rival factions vying for control. The history of the island is filled with bloody conflicts between powerful families, and this culture of violence has had a huge, lasting impact. The mafia have remained an influential presence, and families are often reluctant to report crimes out of fear of retribution, while communities remain haunted by decades worth of bloodshed. From fear of retaliation for speaking out to limited employment opportunities, Sicilians have been left feeling trapped in a situation they can't escape without significant risk or decrease in quality of life. There also lingers an underlying sense of mistrust, both for their peers engaged in criminal activities and for those whom they have no choice but to depend upon for protection or for basic necessities like food and shelter. This leads to mental health issues like post-traumatic stress disorder and depression resulting from feelings of powerlessness. Even generations removed from the organized crime era, many are left with a deep-rooted fear of retribution if they transgress against family honor or break traditional rules. It's not uncommon for people to keep quiet about disagreements within the family circle out of fear that any conflict will escalate into something far more serious. Even making this video scares me a little. As a child, I wondered about all the family secrecy, but now that I know more about my family's history, I have some context for understanding. I was taught not to trust others, and in my 20s, I had to start consciously unlearning this. I've spent the last 20 years consciously looking for the good in people and trusting them as an act of faith. I didn't do this because I was told to, but because I saw this as a necessary step for me to establish a sense of wholeness and well-being. In order to forgive and heal past trauma, we must first be willing to recognize the patterns of communications that have become entrenched in our family system over time. Unspoken words, emotions, and expectations often create tension in families as they pass from one generation to the next. Like for me, I wondered why my mom used such harsh language or why she was so physically abusive. But now I truly understand the meaning of the phrase, hurt people, hurt people. Even today in my own life, I can see that it's when I'm stressed out that I'm likely to fly off the handle, and I'm only dealing with just a tiny fraction of what my ancestors have had to deal with. And it's not just Sicily. Open any world history textbook and you'll see the legacy of violence that has existed for all of humanity. Consider some events like the Rwandan genocide or the Holocaust, which resulted in massive amounts of psychological damage inflicted upon subsequent generations due to the extreme brutality experienced by their families during those tragic events. Add to that the complete lack of justice served due to corrupt governments who perpetuate these atrocities while simultaneously denying responsibility. Other examples of intergenerational trauma include tragedies like the Armenian genocide, slavery perpetrated against African Americans, colonialism, cultural erasure, and the displacement of millions. The Trail of Tears, and countless other instances throughout history which continue to affect us today. No one is exempt. So let's talk about how to move forward with our own families. First off, keep in mind that your parents may not even have the awareness to have investigated their own trauma to the degree that you are doing so now, and have most likely been operating from a place of total ignorance. So often we're living with so much pain that our worldview is totally self-centered and we can't even expand to see the deeper currents of what has happened in our lives. It's unlikely that your parents were given the emotional support or therapy they needed. This doesn't make them bad people, but rather victims themselves. Learning about your own ancestral background can provide insights into historical legacies which may be impacting your family, as well as increase compassion and understanding. Look into your own family's origin story and the cultural traditions that have informed your sense of identity. Try to understand how your parents' upbringing may have impacted their behavior towards you. This can help provide context for why they behaved in certain ways during conflicts or arguments. If possible, talk to your parents about how their actions have impacted you and led to feelings of hurt or betrayal. Try to communicate from a place of understanding without blaming, but rather try to explain how those choices have affected you emotionally. This can help you to engage in productive dialogue that helps you understand each other's perspective better. Sometimes, though, open dialogue just isn't enough. You may need to create boundaries in order to protect yourself from further harm. This includes deciding on how often you will talk with them and what topics are okay. If they're receptive, tell them when something makes you feel uncomfortable or unhappy. I know that for me, open conversations with my mother didn't work. Eventually, I had to make the decision to stop talking to her. Unfortunately, after 5 years of silence, she ended up passing away. It was extremely difficult for me, and I even questioned my decision to end communication. I certainly wish things would have ended differently, but at the time, I did what I had to do to protect my own mental health. And I'm pretty sure that I would take the same actions today if I were pressed to do so. Therapy can also give us an outlet for processing difficult emotions within a safe space free of judgment or blame. It can be an opportunity for personal growth by exploring underlying family dynamics that may be influencing current patterns of communication. It also gives us the chance to develop healthy coping strategies for managing stress. You'll also need to practice acceptance. Recognizing and accepting that your parents aren't perfect and that everyone makes mistakes is an essential step towards forgiveness. No one is perfect, and recognizing this can help set you free from resentment. Think about the challenges your parents faced, as well as how their upbringing may have shaped their parenting style. Most likely, they did not mean to harm you. They were dealing with their own personal struggles, which unfortunately resulted in conflict between you both. It takes a conscious decision to forgive in order to move forward. This is usually the most difficult part of the process, but allowing yourself to let go of resentments can open up space for compassion toward others. Try to let go and focus on living in the moment so that you can enjoy life more fully and move toward a greater sense of inner peace. Forgiveness certainly doesn't always mean having a close relationship with your parents. Sometimes it simply means letting go of resentment and pent-up emotions so that they no longer define you. Beyond taking time for reflection, talking to your parents, creating boundaries, and practicing acceptance, it's important that we take time for self-care practices such as journaling, mindfulness, and meditation. Journaling can be an invaluable tool as it allows us to reflect on our own thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment or criticism from others. Mindfulness and meditation can also help us to reconnect with ourselves by focusing inwardly. Relaxation techniques like deep breathing or guided imagery can calm anxious thoughts. And taking time for yoga or time in nature can help cultivate peacefulness and heal emotional wounds. Finding a creative outlet can also be super valuable. For me, writing poetry and painting has not only helped me to heal, but has also helped me to grow through the development of these personal skills. We all have natural talents and interests, and developing these can help us to deal with difficult emotions as they come up and alchemize them into something beautiful. Along with finding a creative outlet, practicing gratitude, seeking spiritual guidance, focusing on being kinder to yourself, and connecting deeply with others through authentic conversation are all also helpful. Forgiving one's parents for the past can be a difficult and emotionally charged process, but it is possible to do so and begin the healing journey. Acknowledging historical violence around the world helps paint a clearer picture for all involved so that we may work together towards true healing without further perpetuating traumatic cycles. Communication, boundaries, acceptance, staying present, and practicing self-care can all help to get us there. With more understanding and compassion of the past, I truly believe that we can alchemize our experiences to create a more beautiful future. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I'd also love to hear from you, so please let me know what you think. And if you'd like to stay connected, you'll find a link to sign up for my weekly newsletter in the description box below. I wish you the best on your healing journey, and I look forward to connecting with all of you more in the future. Take care.